Damn. Okay. All right. So the softest society in history. I feel like the Alabama boat ride came just in time. That's why I switched the topic. With that situation, do you feel like we're gonna perpetuate that type of energy? Or we gonna go back to doing what we always done? Let niggas rob, steal, and kill, not telling nobody. Um, let people do bad. Cause we know who the killers are in the hood. We know who's selling drugs. We know who this, and the third. I just wonder, are we gonna band together in other ways and start cleaning up our neighborhoods too? Because you look at what Malcolm said. He said the police ain't gonna do it. We got to do it. So you think this is gonna help us launch us into something, or this just gonna be another news story of a bunch of niggas fighting and getting a small win in the bigger picture?
No, I don't think so because again, this is an isolated situation,
Uh
and
huh.
again, for me personally, the pride came in it being black people in the South doing something different that you don't usually see against white people in the South. You know, that was what I took from that. But I don't really see it being like, all right, so now that we did this, let's start doing this because that's a work in progress. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole mindset issue. And then not to mention people understanding what's really going on in their communities is another part of it. So education plays a big part in that. You know, you're saying like, well, we know who the killers are, we know who the drug dealers are. Well, how the fuck the drugs get in the hood? You know, who else is popping off shots and killing us? So we have to be realistic about all those things too, and not just think everything is this cliche, fresh off the news, um, pre-designed story or concept that it's all black on black crime because that's not true either.
Or what do you, in a black part of town or in black community, like in
Yeah,
a
I don't personally believe it's all black people killing black people. I think that's a narrative.
well, people of the same race kill each other at
Hmm.
high percentages, regardless of color, because it's based on proximity.
Okay.
So, but
That,
it's still black people killing black people, but they kill other black people or rob other black people because that's what they live around.
but the reasoning for that is to me is way deeper. It's some other shit going on, and I think we need to be educated on those things
So
before we get to the
you're
crime.
excusing the bad behavior.
No, I'm not.
You're saying that it's something else is the reason why it's happening.
I'm saying like this, right? We know that black children don't test as well as white children in schools. I'm saying there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah,
And I'm
parents
not
are not involved. That's what it is.
what's that?
Parents are not involved. I mean, that's just it.
Is
That's
is
the issue.
But
is
parents don't have to be involved for standardized tests. Those standardized tests have nothing to do with parents being involved.
It does. It does. It goes into what we're feeding them. It goes into how we're preparing them to take the test, whether we're teaching them about meditation and balancing themselves out, rest, as well as what we're feeding them. That does. That has a
right,
lot to do with how we are preparing them.
But work that back into what I was asking you.
right. So again, the stuff that we're feeding them and all the stuff that we're not giving them, there's a root to all that, right? When we even think about something like religion, who fed religion to the black community? All that shit
White
starts
people.
that ain't got shit to do with black people.
Well, it already existed on the continent.
Like I said, all that shit existed that ain't got shit to do with black people. The
Well,
food
you
that
said
the
something.
food
I just wanted to clarify it because you're using it as an example. I'm just
yeah,
telling you that religion and culture existed on the continent.
right. So you guys have a different understanding than what I have, right? So you guys think that black people are the root of black people's problems. And I don't believe that. I believe we can be the solution, but I don't think that we're the root of them.
I
And
think we're the cause of where we are. Um, I've said this before. We keep voting the same type of people in these congressional seats. We keep sitting in situations blaming the school district, blaming everybody else but ourselves. I'm a PTSA president. I don't have not one parent sign up. I had a parent say they were advised that their student wasn't going to graduate because they didn't have enough community service hours. You know what she said? He can come back next year. Well, guess what? The law is in Maryland, you ain't got to graduate. You don't have to come back to school when you're 17. That type of conversation and that type of rhetoric is
Mhm.
common.
And I'm saying, Ro, that comes from something deeper than just the surface level that you understand and see it as, right?
Again,
It's not like some ignorant bitch having a dumb conversation with you. It's deeper than that.
it's really not, because if somebody's educating you and telling you, ma'am, your child needs this and this to graduate, and you say, nah, he gotta work, he can come back next year. He don't have to come back next year.
So
And
what's
sounds
their
like she's less
education level?
educated. Yeah, but I was gonna say that sounds like she's less educated.
Because it sounds more like generational curses than it sounds like she's just a dumb bitch who's just working against her kid for
I
absolutely
didn't even say she was a dumb bitch. What I'm saying is we can only rely so much heavily on generational curses when you are being told, and you are being told that this is the option. The generational curse continues when you just say, don't worry about it, he can come back next year. And that's the same type of mentality that is holding us to situations where we keep talking about we can't get out of.
So, but Ro, how do you fix something that you don't understand exists, right? So if I say it could be a generational curse, and then somebody identifies with that as, oh, maybe there's something deeper going on, and they start to research that, can they not come out of that situation a little bit easier?
They can, but when you're giving them the information and they're persistent on how they want it to go, and that's it, you're making that decision to stay in that position. We can't go on and blame it. We can say that it has been set up for us. Just like any other situation I've said before, we can be in environments where we were dirt poor, but there are people that get out of those situations either based off their ambition or their ability to want to get out and have better. Some of them don't, because that's just the life that's the environment they grew up in.
But that's knowledge of self. Again, people forget where they come from. So when you see these people with that level of success, there was a root or a start to that. There was a catalyst that people don't speak about. It's just like when rich people tell you, oh, I just put this equation with this equation and then I got money. It's deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like nobody really talks about the process to get there. So I'm saying to you, I don't. Go ahead, Han.
Well, what throws it off is though you're almost exonerating the people that are selling drugs and perpetuating negativity because they didn't bring the drugs there in the first place. But it doesn't negate the fact that they still selling them and killing people and hurting people and destroying families.
And how many of those people have knowledge of self? So you're negating what I'm saying.
No, I didn't negate what you're saying. I'm just that initial point.
Right, but that's not it. That's
You're giving them a way out because you're saying the drugs got there somehow, and that's what we need to uncover before we do anything about it. When the truth is, we need to do better, regardless of where those drugs come from. No,
I said we're the solution, right? But part of that is understanding where you come from. We can't just be like, y'all stop selling drugs, do better in school, and then just expect it to happen. Why are those drugs there?
Well, why
what is
can't
really
we do?
going on? What's the agenda that's being placed against you to actually set you up?
But then don't I'm sorry. I was gonna say, don't you have a choice to say, okay, I want to sell drugs or I don't want to sell drugs? I don't think it's because somebody's putting it there. Okay, so they're putting it there. That's like somebody showing you drugs to use. If you have a choice to say, I want to actually use drugs or not. So I don't think that it has any. I'm not saying it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that anybody put it there. Yes, we know it may not have been put there by us, but we have a decision and a choice to say, I don't want to be a seller of those drugs. I don't want to be a user of those drugs. I don't think it has any, like, I hear what you're saying, but I disagree.
But Ms. Nate, if you're saying I choose to be a user of drugs, usually wouldn't the premise for that be some type of trauma, rejection, trying to fit in? You get what I'm saying? There's a root reason for that. Nobody just wakes up and says, hey, today I want to do drugs.
I mean, for no reason. You're right.
That's
it's based off your
that part is true.
It's based off your environment and what you're in, right? We'll use Jay-Z for example. He, allegedly sold drugs, right? And then he was in these environments with people like Lear Cohen, and they just started teaching him about business. And so now he's changed because the alleged drug selling only gets you to a certain point from what he acknowledges, right? So my thing is, when do people make a decision to change their environment? Because even when people are in those environments of change, they sometimes don't want to accept the fact that it's time to change.
Right, because they're dealing with people who speak, no disrespect, like people like y'all that speak to them from a very basic place, like just do this and don't do this. That doesn't resonate.
But I think it's a matter of going back to what wrote her example earlier. I think there's choices and I think there's priorities, right? For the mom, her child needing to work so that she can help put food on the table, that was her priority at the moment, but she had a choice, right? And for some people, the education is the priority. And then for some people, her child making that extra money is the priority. So I think that's a bigger conversation. There's priorities, and then with your priorities, there comes a choice. I think when it comes to the system of, yes, we are not in control of the families that we went ahead and we were born into or the situations. But as we get older, we have the choice to want to do something different. Now, some people are a little bit more easy influenced than others, but I think as Black people, there comes a point in time where we have to make the choice to want to do better. We have to figure out what our priorities are. If we're in a neighborhood and we know there's a neighborhood dealer or someone who's been shooting people, when the police come or when there is an opportunity for justice, are we sitting back and not saying anything? Oh, no snitching and getting them off the street? Or are we being quiet? We have a choice. What is your priority? Is your priority getting them off the street so that the neighborhood could be better?
All right, I wanted to hear what AFR and Triple Black had to say, but Matt done kicked off both of them. What the fuck the American First Rifleman even do?
Because he made his face. He went like this to the. He did like this. He got irritated, I think.
Yo, AFR, I just literally say AFR click the link on purpose.
Oh shit!
So I wanted to hear what he had to say on the damn topic. And what the fuck did Triple Black do?
Well, here's what I did. It's because I'm well known for not accepting Negro stalling tactics and excuses that comedian was spewing. Ro was on it, okay? I'm the young lady. I'm sorry, young lady. I'm old man with the very, very beautiful hair. I didn't even catch her name. She was correct, okay? And we need to stop this, or we need to just tell them to stop doing A, B, and C. It is that simple, because you know why? The proof is in the pudding with everybody else. Just like them Asians put in 10, 20, 30% of what they make a year.
Damn, man. I want to hear what the fuck American Rifle had to say. I literally sent him the link, Matt.
Well, $20 getting back on here. Now,
Yo,
back to what we was talking
AFR,
about.
just stay right there, man. Somebody gonna bail you out.
Or not.
I know it, man. This is good. Look at AFR, look at 777. He love it, man. You see him? Oh my god, man. Damn. All right. Did y'all want to keep going on this one?
Yeah.
So I was going to say something.
To his supposed point, if it's just that simple, why the fuck we are where we are right now? Just telling people not to do shit and to do shit.
Right.
Because of our leadership.
Yeah, the leadership doesn't tell you not to do it. If you hear the Al Sharptons of the world who were leading, that's what they perpetuate, and they would say things similar to how you open up your statement.
Right, but that's part of the problem. If you're fucking following Al Sharpton, then
we're talking about the people who have voices.
Our congressional Black leaders, they don't pass any laws. They don't pass any laws, you guys, because nobody says anything to them. They just sit there and they go to their conferences and their conventions and they talk a good talk.
They're not really considered leadership anymore. I think they're antiquated, honestly. I don't even think that they're looked at leadership anymore. So we can't even look at them and say, because the leadership, if you're looking at them, they're not the leadership.
But love, they are the leadership that represent us in Congress to pass laws. So
Al Sharpton does not
represent. I'm not talking about Al Sharpton. I'm talking about Congressional Black Caucus. Those are your representatives, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or independents. Those are the ones that sign in the laws. Those are the ones that are making things happen or not happen.
Mike Brown brought AFR back, man.
Shit like that.
Yeah, I use to see, and that's one of them tactics that you never get through a conversation, because we mentioned Al Sharpton. We're gonna stick on the Al Sharpton point. The point was, who did we believe in yesteryear? It's been these churches, it's been these pastors. Yeah. And these are the results we've been getting. So I use Al because he's been leading for a long time, and we haven't been getting great results. Oh shit, AFR got something in the kitty too. AFR Gunny sent you another 20 ball. He said, let's get Luke Gossip Jr., Steve Harvey back on here.
Shit like that. Wow.
The truth is gonna come out whether we want it or not. You know, sometimes people gotta hold us down and drip it into our eyes while we scream. But guess what? Here's the deal. Y'all ladies are already on it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we choose who we want to represent us. We have control. The thing about it is Black Americans have control over so much. Okay. So when people start going to this conspiracy theory of they bought in the drugs, they bought in the guns, you know, like you'll hear stuff like they're kind of like Q was kind of going down that path, like, and I've heard it a million times. Oh, you know, we're not all killing each other. You know, there's people like disguising themselves and they're just shooting Black people to make it look like we're doing it. Or they'll say, you know, miraculously, all these young Black boys found all these brand new shiny gun toys in a box somewhere in the hood, and they started killing each other. And it's just like, no, they came from low-seated, single parent-led households, and they went out and did what they were programmed to do. You can't blame the white man for that, okay? Because guess what? We had the choice to make sure our family stayed together, our leadership class made sure we did, and we followed suit. That's it. Now there's people realizing where we are and where we messed up, and now people are talking about forming families, getting their kids out of these failing schools and institutions. Unfortunately, most of us still vote Democrat that are against that stuff, but still, people are waking up in fits and starts, and that's where we gotta kind of focus on, because our priorities. The thing about it is like priorities. What are your priorities? Like your neighbor, the people you live around that are Black. If you don't know what their priorities are, if you aren't, you know, getting together, you don't care about the community. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you either gonna start making synergy with other Black folks in where you live, or you need to go, because you're risking your kid, you're risking your physical safety, you're risking your wealth. And I'm not trying to be that dude, oh, Black community, get the hell out. But it's just like, you're actually risking and wasting your time if you're not even going to be there and try to build it back up.
Right, but y'all are part of the problem, because y'all say this basic dumb shit that doesn't resonate with nobody. You're not able to have an impact, right? So if you're not able to empathize with your own people and start at the root or the core of that issue, and you're just saying, because I said this, just wake up one day and make a new decision off of nothing, none of that makes sense.
Okay, well, I'll give you an example.
Hold on. Yeah, bro, before you start up, let me just read the super chat real quick. And I got to get Corn into Corn wanted to comment. Sway what's popping? Okay. Sway, what's popping with the $5 super chat? The only difference between a superhero and a villain is choice. They both have a traumatic backstory. It's how they reflect on that trauma. Sway with the $2 super chat. LOL, you want us to help the villain and not the hero? Mike Brown with the $2 super chat. Put Gunny in the bathroom for not being a member.
Put him in the fucking bathroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Hell yeah. All right, AFR, be concise with this point so I can get these two in on this one, and I want to transition to topics. I know Q got to respond. Go ahead, do your thing.
There's an example. I think it was the state of Indiana about almost 15 years ago. There was a school district. I don't know if it was Indianapolis, but it was probably a larger school district that was predominantly Black. And they went off about underfunding of schools, everything that Black parents and academics were saying that white people weren't funding or weren't doing. You know, the white man wasn't doing this. The white man said, we did a bond or something, came up with hundreds of millions of dollars, built brand new facilities, state of the art, more teachers, swimming pools, every amenity a child needs in a learning environment. And guess where them test scores are at today, or how they stayed? Down in the damn gutter. Because you know why? The parents did not prioritize the children's education. If you have all the material accoutrements and you still have the same results, please tell me, and Q, please answer this. How can you explain that?
I'm sorry, I don't fuck with none of y'all saying. I fuck with my people the long way, and I think we some of the most brightest, intelligent motherfuckers on the face of this planet. It just sounds like y'all really don't believe in your own people, and I think that there are deeper rooted issues that start all this shit, this whole mindset, that whole concept. I think there's something deeper there than to just like where you guys are is part of that process, right? You guys are like ahead of it. I'm saying let's go back a little bit so that we can get some of the stuff that you guys are saying incorporated into the community to be able to move forward. So I think we're having two different conversations, because you guys are just like, well, it's really just this simple. If we all go to a meeting and say parents get involved and come to the meetings, and you don't show up, then that's the problem. But there's a reason they're not showing up. And I'm saying we need to get to that and figure that out so that we can get them to that point of being able to show up at the actual fucking meeting. And I'm just saying, you guys.
It starts with one, though. When you get one to show up, then you band together. It's kind of like what Malcolm X was saying. When one person start, then you get everybody to join in together. I get what you're saying as far as like we don't understand what the reason is and going back to the root cause. And I totally get what you were saying about we brought certain things in there. But again, we have a choice. So a lot of times we are choosing not to go to these parent-teacher conferences. We are choosing not to invest in our children's education. There are some of us that really do. You know me, I'm very strong in investing.
Right, but let me ask you this. Since you're saying that, Ms. Nate, why? Why do you choose to go to the?
Because I give a goddamn about education.
And why do you give a goddamn about education?
Because I know that my education will get me further along in the future.
And how do you know that?
I was taught that.
And how?
And also because I look at what I had down in my history of drug dealers and all the other stuff. I didn't want to lead with that. I didn't want that. So I had a choice to do better.
So based on knowledge, some type of knowledge that you had, it helped you to make better decisions. That's what I'm saying.
But I disagree with that about choice.
So let me jump in right quick. Let me jump in right quick. So I agree. So as far as the Montgomery, so I'm kind of go back to the original question a little bit. Do I feel like the Montgomery situation helped in a way? I feel like it did a little bit. I feel like it can actually spark something. So I kind of go along with a little bit of that. So I feel like it can spark something different where we can step up for our neighborhoods. I do feel like because certain neighborhoods are probably used to a certain way of culture and certain way, okay, this is how it is, this is what it's gonna be. I feel like with people coming in, caring about their neighborhood, people caring about how their house looks, of course, because it brings up the property value. I feel like all of that can help in a sense if we are the ones that's actually coming to the neighborhoods that's got the money. And let me just give an example of just Southeast DC, for instance. That's the area that I know that a lot of people are starting to move into. So certain areas, yes, it's still bad in certain areas, but some areas are developing and changing for the better. And you do have programs like DC Dream Center I'm a part of, that's in the Southeast area as well, that goes in and helps mentor young Black kids in that area so they can become self-sustaining adults. So I feel like, yes, we're slowly getting there where we're trying to slowly bring in programs, but they're all white people too that are part of these programs that are helping us out too. So we can't say like they're the enemy, obviously, because they're the ones that's creating and funding these programs that helps us as well, but we have to step up too, right? And so that's why I was kind of, getting to the gentrification part. That definitely helps. My area, I live in Southern Maryland. All my neighbors are Black. You know what I mean? We all ride for each other. We all looking out for each other. Okay, you need your grass cut, I got you. Let me watch your dog. Like we help each other, you know what I mean? But we're all Black out here. So I feel like that can, especially down south, for instance. Up north is one thing. We kind of a little bit more further along to me than it is down south when it comes to like helping people out like that. And I lived in Kansas for years. It was very ignorant. So it's a different area out here in the up north area. But down south, I feel like this can help. This can help start something.
I'm sorry. I want
Hold on. I gotta get love in. Go ahead.
Oh, child, this is a 20-minute statement, but I was trying to tie back to the beginning like Corn did. I have a question for him, but I'll do that later. It has energized the Black collective, what happened in Montgomery on Sunday. Or Saturday. It happened Saturday. We saw it on Sunday. Absolutely energized us. However, I don't think it's enough to create definitive change now. And I believe it is going to mean a lot more than that one isolated incident for it to affect change in the community. I think I am a belief of each one teach one. Like we all impact that. We all create community within our community, within our small circumference of people. So within my neighborhood, I talk to my neighbors. We have a neighborhood watch. Even the crackheads that live over there, I say hi to them. And we're talking. I really do. You don't know. I'm serious. I do. I say hi to them. They say hi, ma'am.
No,
They
that's
see me cleaning up
nice.
my yard. I see them clean. When they see me clean up my yard, they come and help me.
You know them
That
by
really
name.
does happen. And so that's why my part, even though I live in a certain neighborhood, is a little bit better than the other ones down the street. I literally do these things. Am I going to change the world? I believe if we all did that in our own circles, and that would impact change. But I do believe it's more than just sitting there saying to the parents, come to a meeting. You need to come to a meeting, because if they, like Alex said, it's what do you say? It was a priority versus a need. The priority is feeding your kids and going to work and having 2-3 jobs because you live in an area that's high, very expensive, versus what needs to be done is your kid going to school. And so it's a lot bigger than black and white. It's very complex, but we do what we need to do. And I want to keep it very concise. We can move on.
Yeah, I think Love, I think you're more speaking about tribalism.
I think
I'll
it's
take
just
that. I'll take that.
and probably the most palatable out of everything everybody on the panel said so far.
Well, Q, I wanted to attack one of your points because the motherfuckers do a lot of talking, but there ain't a lot of action. Right. So like me, I can name a bunch of stuff in terms of action where people are perpetuating and effectuating change. Like what Corn says. Corn does a lot also. So we do these things, but we can still say what we're saying and be right. But you also have to put some pain in too. You know.
I have a question for Corn real quick. Did you say Corn gentrification is helping? Did you say that?
Yeah.
I said, in a way, it is a little bit, because I'm speaking of I'm thinking about Southeast DC, for instance. That's the pinpoint area that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, because the reason why I said that was, I'm saying people coming into a neighborhood because they probably bought it at a higher price as maybe somebody that's already living there. They're going to care more about the property value of their home, make sure the yard is cut, and make sure, the other houses down the street are actually getting built up too. Like, they actually care. But I'm saying this particular area for Black people can help if we have the money, obviously, to get in there, which I've seen that we are. So I'm saying that helps with
Maybe I don't know what gentrification means. Maybe I don't know what gentrification means. I thought gentrification was essentially white people that had a lot of money. No, am I wrong?
No, money. It's money. So Corn,
it is money. Yeah.
So it's
the one thing Corn is leaving out is the gentrifiers are Black in Southeast.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
You're a gentrifier.
That's why I kept saying Southeast.
Yeah.
Well, no, I wanted to hear. No, my thought was it was a race like rich white people, but Hamp said it's more of a class thing. So okay, then I agree with in that regard.
Well, because you would be a gentrifier technically,
sir.
You could be a gentrifier.
So would
that's
I.
What I'm saying, yeah.
So would Corn.
But as far as gentrification too, I thought was pushing out people and then basically perpetuating homelessness because they don't have a place to go. That's
it could do that.
Possible because they can't afford it.
And that's
what happens is,
go ahead.
But what happens is they actually get pushed out the PG, so because they can't afford the city. But I guess Corn's point is Black people pushing Black people. I guess that's better than the white people pushing them out. I guess it's
a classism but it's a classism issue and it's still perpetuating poverty because you are pushing them out because they can't afford the property taxes and to live there. So you're putting them into poor neighborhoods without impacting the community. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not infecting the community, if that's the right word that I can use. That's all I'm saying. So it's not really helping.
Right. But see, my issue is this.
Let me hit the super chats before you go, Q.
I'm about to hit the super chat right now and I'm gonna make my point off of it.
I got a bunch though. I got a bunch.
Okay, let's start with Hanks.
And then I'll go back to it. Go ahead.
With $2 super chat. The victim Olympus is strong and cute. You already know. What's next, Hank? No Cupcake Zone with the $1.99 super chat. The hate is real. Sway Producing with the $1.99 super chat. Why care about the lychees?
The leeches and viruses.
Leeches.
You gotta
Viruses,
say Leisha?
let them out.
Leeches.
He's saying that the vermin of our people, just get rid of them.
Wow.
Okay. Mike
Wow.
Brown with the $5 super chat. It starts with the nuclear family.
Oh yeah.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
We got Tatum 32 with the $1.99 super chat. Parents use school as a daycare and are not involved.
Yo, that's that, and I
That's
hate
a
it.
fact.
But
That
that's
could be
true. Daycare in Gracie's corner like a motherfucker.
We got, is that Triumpact?
True
Told
impact.
y'all.
True impact.
Okay. All right. With the $4.99 super chat, PTA is about fundraising, not kids' education. Ro is wrong.
He's
Uh-oh.
obviously not a part of PTSA.
Oh.
Stupid.
Yeah, all the other kids in PTAs get educated.
The
It depends on the schools, because I know some schools that it's about
We have
fundraising.
more super chat.
Yeah,
All
see the
right.
super chat?
And
Yeah, see the
Sway
super chat?
Producing with the $1.99 super chat, he corrected himself with the lychees and says, "Why worry about your backyard first?"
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
All right,
like that.
I gotta get. All right, we gotta go to the next topic. But I know AFR wanted to get in. Q, you wanted to respond. Go ahead. Hold on.
Yeah, I just want to say it's funny to me that the people on the panel that are speaking about gentrification are the same people that are just like simply say this to the black people and then they could stop doing it because it's a choice.
Well, let's be
So
clear.
if y'all believe there's an
No,
agenda,
I'm definitely not saying that. I'm definitely
right? But
not
if
saying
y'all
that.
believe that there's an agenda, then y'all can't speak to one part and then be like, no, but in this situation, this is what's really going on, because that's what the fuck I've been saying this whole time.
Wait, what?
No, I agree with you saying to a degree. I feel like, and I go back even to my family that's in Chicago, right? So they came up in the drug world and the gang world because that was just on their block. Either you're gonna do it or you're gonna get bullied to do it. So they grew up in that, and they think, I thank God for myself every day. Now I didn't grow up in that environment. They had to do it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you said, it's the mentality of that person to be able to do it. I have my middle cousin. He always tells me, he always claims he's a thug, but really, honestly, he was just a hustler. At the end of the day, he went down with no killing, no shooting nobody. Like, he was just like, I'm trying to get this money. You know what I mean? Now, if I'm getting it through the means of drugs, then so be it. He ended up going to federal prison for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did time with not Big Meech, but his brother, Terry. He actually did time with him. So now that he's out,
Get to the goddamn point. We don't care who he did
I'm trying
time
to get to the
with.
point. Let me finish. So now that he's out, is what I was getting ready to say is that he's started his trucking business. He's flipping houses. Like he's probably making more money than me because that hustling mentality never left him. He just finding a better, positive way of doing it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
To learn some shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question to Q is,